Welcome back to another Family Business Talks. In our journey to better understand the complexities of a family business, we're excited to have with us today António Soares Franco, co-CEO and seventh generation leader of José Maria da Fonseca, one of Portugal's oldest and most important wine producers. António carries forward the legacy from dating back to 1834 and embodies the core family values of tradition, truth, and innovation that have brought the company forward across generations. With an academic background from Católica-Lisbon and Columbia University, António blends a deep respect of his family with a forward-thinking innovation approach, overseeing marketing sales to expand José Maria da Fonseca's global presence while maintaining its cultural and strategic continuity. Join us as we explore the family business legacy with our distinguished guest. Welcome, António. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Jonas.
First of all, I'd like to ask you if you could tell our listeners a bit about your journey and the evolution of your role in the company up until today.
Well, I graduated from Católica, did my undergrad there. Then I immediately joined Procter & Gamble, a multinational company focused on the marketing department. So there I learned a lot in terms of marketing, in terms of sales, in terms of communication, also leading people. So it was a journey for 3.5 years, started in Portugal. Then I moved on to Madrid for a couple of years. But I knew when I was there, I knew it was part of my journey. So I was not going to end up my career in Procter & Gamble. I was there to learn. And I always knew that I wanted to join the family business later on. So at some point I decided to do an MBA because I thought I needed to broaden my skills, my perspective, to enlarge my network with people from other countries as well. So together with my wife, because I was already married at the time, so we moved to New York to do the MBA in Columbia University. So I did that for 1.5 years. And again, while doing that, I knew that my goal was to come to the wine business. I knew that there was a role that I could fulfill within the family business. And at the end of the MBA, I decided to talk with my father and say I'm available. And he said, yeah, we have a position for you. We have a role for you. So I joined the company back in 2005. Initially, I started as a marketing and sales director. So I was in charge of all marketing and sales for either domestic market as well as international markets. And I learned a lot. Even though I grew up in the wine business, there was a lot of technicalities that I didn't know in the beginning. So I developed a lot of my skills in terms of winemaking, wine tasting, how to deal with customers, with international customers, the different type of customers that we had. So that was a big learning process as well for me. So I was in that role for a few years, and then later on I moved up to the board of directors together with my father and my uncle. Later on, my cousin, my uncle's oldest son, joined the company, so he came to the board as well. So the four of us were on the board. This happened around 2014, and then during the pandemic we had a big reflection within the family, and we decided to sort of starting the transition process between the 6th to the 7th generation. We did a family protocol where we develop all the rules and how the family and company interacts, and develop a lot of different rules for a lot of different aspects of the life of the company. And we decided to do the transition. It was a good period because it was still the 6th generation is very healthy and is very capable of making all the decisions. They were leading this process, which was very important. And so back then we decided that we're going to have two co-CEOs. Basically, it was myself and my cousin. So we took over in 2020. And so for the last 4 years, we've been running to the day-to-day business, even though my father and my uncle are still part of the board of directors. So we still meet with them. We still give them the updates of the business in a more strategic level. But then we have a more executive committee that right now it's myself, my cousin, and an outsider, so a non-family member. And the three of us, we run the day-to-day business and make the day-to-day decisions. So that's in a nutshell a bit of my summary so far. And yeah, we arrive in 2024 and looking forward to continue to develop the company, not only in the domestic market, but especially in the international markets for the years to come.
Great. As you said in the beginning, when you started your professional career, you joined Procter & Gamble, a multinational company, instead of joining your own family business. For the potential successors who are listening to us and maybe share the dilemma, can you share your decision-making process?
So, well, ever since I was a young boy, I had the dream of joining the family business. And I said this several times already in many interviews that growing up, I was looking at, so my father was involved in the business, my grandfather was in the business, my uncle was in the business. And so that's the ideal that as a young boy, when you get over the young stage when you want to be a football player or a Formula One driver or something like that, then when you start to be more serious about what you want to do, I started to understand that these people were my role models, and I wanted to be like them in the business world. I wanted to meet international people like they were meeting. I wanted to have the international perspective like they were having already. I wanted to be like my father, my grandfather. So I always had the idea and the goal of being in the family business. I knew that I shouldn't go immediately after finishing university going to the family business. Right now it is a rule that no one from the family can go directly to the family business. We need to work outside the company for a few years in other companies. But in the end, I always felt that that's where I would end up professionally. So every step I took in my professional career was trying to build myself, trying to enrich my knowledge, enrich my skills towards later on working in the family business. So Procter & Gamble was a step for that. The MBA in Columbia was another step for that. And at the end of the MBA, it was curious because my father, I was in New York. Columbia was very strong in finance. So there was a lot of opportunities in the finance world in New York where I would make a ton more money than I would make in the family business. So my father, at the time, he told me, listen, if you want to follow a different path, if you want to stay in New York and make a lot more money, just let me know, and you're free to follow that route. But I told him, no, this is I really want to go to the family business. That's where I want to bring value. That's where I think I can add value. I want to go back to Portugal. I want to live in Portugal. So I moved from New York to Azeitão, which is a small village close to Lisbon. And that's where I started my professional career inside the family business.
Great, yeah. As we are talking about family business, one of the unique strengths of a family business is the implicit knowledge and how it is passed on between generations, from generation 1 to generation 2, for example. Can you tell us how difficult it is to pass on family's core values?
Well, I think in a family business, it's not only in the professional setting that you pass on the values. It starts in the family. So it starts as the education of someone, the education of a son or a daughter. So that's a natural way of educating a person. Naturally, the values come from one generation to the next. And the values are taught by actions, not by words. And seeing how other generations react in different situations, in different environments, you really get a feeling of, and you really live these values day to day. So that's the way that values are transferred from one generation to the other. I think it's more on actions rather than words, and seeing what other people, how they react and how they make decisions in different situations. So I think it's in family business is an easier environment to transfer these values rather than a non-family business where it's more difficult to pass on these values.
And now that you've been working for a good amount of years with your family, how do you make sure that your family values stay in the business strategy and the day-to-day operations?
Well, as I said before, we developed a family protocol a few years ago. And on the family protocol, we did it. It was a process that we did with a family business consultant. And so basically the process was, he did interviews with every member of the family business, and he asked a ton of questions about different aspects of the business. And one of the things he asked was, what are the values that each one of us wanted the company to live by. So basically, at the end of the process, we have a set of values that the family decides that the company should have. These are not new values, because these are values that all of us knew and all of us felt for many years, and the previous generations also respect those values. But it's important to have those values listed in the family protocol. And then when we developed our strategic plan, so we have like a 5-year strategic plan, the values that we set up on that plan are the exact same values that the family decided on the family protocol. So to answer your question, so the family values are exactly a photocopy of what the company values and the company strategy is aligned with.
And could you share maybe an example of a decision that it was shaped significantly to your family's history or guidelines?
So to give you an example, so the company has been, since the beginning, is very innovative and lives in a very entrepreneurship spirit. To give you an example, we were the first company in Portugal to bottle wine. Now this seems very common in our days, but 200 years ago was not so common. We would be selling wine in bulk in wooden barrels, and it was a very innovative and entrepreneurial way of approaching the business to start to sell the wine in a bottle. So I think this entrepreneurial characteristic and the innovation factor is something that is embedded in the family history and family values, and the company history and company values. And to give you an example of a recent decision, decision that is not so recent, it's 10 years ago, we set up our own distribution company. So we decided, before that we sold in the domestic market through distributors, so we were selling our wine to a major distributor that would then sell the wine to the market. And we decided to set up our own distribution company and have our own sales team, our own logistics, customer service, and so that was I think it was respecting the value of innovation, respecting the value of entrepreneurship, and it was a very important decision for us. Just to give you an idea, in the last 10 years that we have this company, in the domestic market, we multiplied our sales roughly by 4. So it was a decision that had a lot of impact in the company, both financially but also in the culture. We are much closer to the market. We much more adapted to what the market needs and what the market wants, and much more aligned overall with the market demands. So I think that decision and that strategy was very much aligned with the company values and the family values.
And I know we've touched a bit already about this topic, but going back to when you decided to move to Portugal and join Zé Fonseca, what made you decide like that was the right point to come back? Why not maybe, as you were mentioning before, stay a little bit, like a couple of years in the States and then move back?
Basically, it was an opportunity because in the process that we have designed for a family member to join the company, of course, there needs to be a desire from the family member to join, but also the company needs to have that person. So it's a matter of opportunity as well. At that stage, there was a position open. The marketing and sales director had left, so the position was open. So it was the right moment, the right time. If I had waited 2-3 more years, maybe the company would not have a position open, and the marriage would not happen in the same way. And so, as many things in life, it has to do with the moment, with the opportunity, and the right moment, the right time to make things happen.
And was it difficult to make that decision?
It was not difficult because, as I said before, I was always, that was my goal in life ever since I was a young boy. So it was not a difficult decision. It was difficult in the sense that, as I told you, with my father, if I had decided to stay in New York, I'd probably make a lot more money. But in the end, I was not really motivated by money. I was motivated by other factors and other values. And I really wanted to help the family develop the company business. And I thought I had developed skills and knowledge that could add value to the family business. So it was really not a super difficult decision, and it was probably one of the most important decisions in my life.
You already mentioned that your company is very innovative, and I was wondering, how could you deal with or balance between innovation and tradition? Like, for example, you're in a quite competitive industry, and how do you meet the challenge of remaining competitive and innovative while preserving like traditional values and family heritage?
It's a difficult balance, to tell you the truth, between innovation and tradition.
Yeah.
Because innovation a lot of times means doing something disruptive. But the reality is our tradition has always been disruptive since the beginning. We've always innovated. So the fact that we are innovating is not irreconcilable with the fact that we are true to our tradition, because our tradition is with innovation at the same time. A lot of times we've innovated, we've launched, starting with Periquita, it was the first wine to be bottled. Later on, we launched, in the mid-20th century, we launched a brand called Lancers, which was one of the first Portuguese rosés in the international markets, which having a huge success. Again, in the 60s, we were the first company to have our own distribution company. So that was the grandmother of our distribution company right now. So a lot of times we have innovated. So being true to our traditions, to what we are in our core, we continue to innovate. So I don't think it's irreconcilable, the fact that we innovate and we are faithful to our tradition as well.
So is it easy to always stick to your traditional values?
Is it easy to?
Easy, yeah. Is it easy to stick to them?
I think so, because for us it's part of who we are, part of our nature, part of our values. And I think if we did not innovate, a lot of times the company would be struggling with market challenges. I think if the companies, and to survive for almost 200 years, you need to innovate. Otherwise, you will fall behind competition, behind the market. So I think for us it was key. Every time we innovated in a big way, it was very important for the company to move forward and to be able to survive for 7 generations.
Maybe based on that, what you just said, Can you share an example of like the change in the market trends and when you need to adapt to that while maintaining the traditions?
So one of the latest innovations that we did was we launched a alcohol-free wine, and that's strange to think that a company that's almost 200 years old is the same company that is the first to launch an alcohol-free wine in the domestic market, which is also a very traditional market. But I think we were ahead of the trends in that context. I think consumers nowadays are looking for lighter styles of wine with lower alcohol, lower calories, and there is a growing market for alcohol-free wines. And again, it was an example where we innovate. Sometimes we are ahead of the correct time to innovate. But later on, the market catches up, and we are there. So I think it was a good example for what you were asking.
Great. What has been the most rewarding aspect of being a part of a family business?
I think the most rewarding aspect is the feeling that the family members are proud of our successes. So every time we have a success, we launch a new brand that is successful, we open a new market, we enter a new customer, we receive an award. So just last week we had one of our wines being named among the top 100 wines in the world for one of the most important magazines in the United States. And to see that the family members are super proud of that is really very rewarding. Not only the family members, but also the workers in the company. And remember that even these workers are family members. These workers we have certain cases of people that work with us that they are the third or fourth generation of their own families that are working with us. So it's a family business, not just for us that are shareholders, but also for our people that work with us, and seeing that how proud they are of these successes, and how proud they are that we enter a new market, we launch a new brand very successfully, is definitely the most rewarding thing of working in our family business.
Well, as we are approaching the end of our conversation, I have one final question to you. So in our academic journey, we learn a lot in classes about things that shape a company, the values, the strategic part, all of those things. And I think my question to you is, based on all of the experience you've got along all these years and what life has taught you, what's the advice you would give to us next generation?
In terms of
business, of a family business?
I think first of all, you need to be sure that you want to be involved in the family business, because it's a super important decision. Of course, it's possible that someone that goes in a family business later on leaves, but it's not as easy as in any other company. So be sure that that's the way you want to move forward. Be realistic and realize that there's going to be challenges along the way. Don't think it's going to be a sea of roses, and be prepared for the setbacks. And whenever you have setbacks, never feel that it's the end of the world, because there's always light at the end of the road. And when you are successful, don't let your ego blind you with the success. So in life, you'll go in waves. You'll have times when you are successful, and when there's going to be challenging times. Don't feel that when you are up that you are don't let your ego get the most of you. And when you are down, also don't let the challenge demotivate you, because there's always tomorrow. There's always a possibility to change things, to improve things. So always have a long-term mindset. Feel free, make sure that it's clear for you what you want to do in the next 5 to 10 years, and stick to that plan. I think it's the most important thing. Stick to your values. Don't act contrary to what your values are and what your family's values are. And have fun. Also, in the end, it's important to have fun. When you come to work in the morning, you need to feel motivated, and if you're not having fun while doing the work, you don't feel motivated. So I think that those would be the most important advices I would give students like you.
Thank you very much. We conclude our family business talks today. Thank you very much again for taking the time to be here with us. I hope our listeners have enjoyed as much as we have, and see you next time.
Thank you.